Thanks for tuning in to more thoroughbred action as far as our handicapping is concerned on the Playbook Sports Horse Report with Jon Hardoon from the Sheets. How's it
Good
going,
morning.
John?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing good. Mark Lawrence, as you can see, is not here. He's got the COVID 10-day, what would you call it? Isolation?
10-day isolation it
Yes.
is.
So Mark will hopefully be with us because in 10 days, boy, it's going to be close to see if he'll make it next Friday. Hopefully, Mark will be okay isolating. And of course, at Mark's age, I mean, that's you do have to take care of yourself, no question about it. So I'm
Especially,
actually getting to that point in my age too that I should be worried a little bit more, but I'm just not.
especially on Skype. You could catch a lot from Skype.
Yeah, that's why not only Mark was saying how happy he was that he had Netflix. It's like, well, I couldn't live 10 days isolated without my computer.
Exactly.
I
Or
would be
your
like,
phone. How
yeah,
about your phone?
get away from everybody. Just put my computer and internet and my access to my YouTube channel, and I'll be fine. Okay, so last week actually could have went really well, but unfortunately Lexingtonian screwed up big time with the 30-1 long shot out of nowhere. And was that the horse that had like that 34 the race before? Or was that another horse I was thinking of?
I think that was a different horse. Listen, it's hard to make a case for the horse, but last year Jack Sisterson, the trainer, also won a big race on that day, upsetting at a big price. He's a good trainer. The horse woke up on the right day, and that's why they call Saratoga the graveyard of favorites.
Yeah. So happy that I was able to hit the second race, though. So at least I came away with something last week, even though it wasn't like a big payout like it would have been with the first race. But anyway, I think we had a pretty good week last week. Let's continue that this week with two more races at Saratoga. There are a couple of grade 2 races at Del Mar, but we are not going to go there. Those races, just taking a look at the field, not very good. When we were going over the races this week at Saratoga, now the Whitney is like one of those races that we obviously have to do. Unfortunately, they threw 5 horses at us. We're still going to do it, but and the only reason that we're doing it is because all 5 horses could win the race theoretically. Otherwise, if it would have been one of those 1-9s with 2 30-1 shots, then I would have still passed on the Whitney. But we'll talk about that coming up next. The first race that we're going to go with is going to be the Grade 1 Test. This is the 8th race. It's going to go off about 4:35 Eastern. The 7 furlong race for fillies 3-year-olds. So these are 3-year-old fillies at the top of their careers, pretty much. A lot of good horses in this field. Very tough race to handicap, but let's get into it with Illumination. And Illumination, the number 1 at 12-1. So what's up with Baffert? Is the suspension over?
No, he got a stay in the courts. So this is, the courts gave him a stay, and they put the suspension on hold, I guess, till they get the results from Kentucky, from the Kentucky Derby. And, that could go on for years in the court system. You know the way it works. So
okay. Well, this horse, let me just pop up the sheets here while we're talking about it. And look, 12-1, that's the thing I really like about Illumination, which is why I'm going to play Illumination in my exactas. It's like a must play. This horse was whoever bought the horse, and I guess this is the Bolton George farm, the owners.
The George Bolton, the guy that owned the Factor.
Okay.
And a lot of other good horses along the way.
So they really like this horse. They spent $900K on the horse. And things, look, you could already see it with the races. Grade 1 in the second race, grade 2 in the third race. But the horse really wasn't performing all that well with 19, 23, 16. But the last race, which was the only race the horse ran in 2021, as you can see on the board there, all of a sudden got a 9, wins the first race of the horse's career. And that's why when you throw Baffert into the mix and Velasquez and 12-1, I've got to throw this horse in the exacta to see if I can get a payout.
Well, the only knock I have on the horse is that this race is 7 furlongs, and her 7 furlong race was not particularly good, career start number 2. And the fact that she's breaking from the rail, you see, I think she's going to be a lot shorter than 12-1. Baffert's in. I don't think that's the right price. I think she'll probably be half of that price. So for that reason, I was avoiding her. But listen, it's Baffert, and he's always dangerous. And obviously, if the horse runs off the 9 like she ran last time out, she certainly is eligible. And she's been working very quick. On July 25th at Del Mar, she had the best workout out of 92 horses. That's pretty good. And her last work on July 31st was the best of 11.
Hmm.
So obviously she could be getting good now. She's a 3-year-old. They paid a lot of money for her, and
Yep.
she's supposed to be good. But that's what kind of race this is. You basically can make a case for most of them.
All right, the 2 is going. Let's see. Let me get the 2 on the board here, and that is going to end up being Super Sensational. And Super Sensational, a 6-1 shot coming off at 8 last time out. You like the sheet line, as you can see up there, going 20, 14, 13, 8 over the last 4. What you're a little bit concerned with, though, is the 8, which was the all-time high, 5 points higher than the 13, and the 8 came right about less than a month ago. That's not what we want to see when we're thinking about a potential bounce.
Especially with fillies. Fillies have a tendency to react to big races a lot more than the male horses do, and fillies usually bounce. And I would say that this is a serious contender to bounce, not to run off the 8, but to run a lot worse tomorrow.
All right, let's now move on to the 3. This is Zagel. Is that how you pronounce this horse?
Yeah.
I'm surprised I actually got that. This is another potential bounce candidate because the horse ran a 9 in late June, but it's right about that time frame that we talk about that maybe the horse will be able to get by without the bounce. And the fact is, we like the 8-1. So you also got Rosario on board. The first time wins the Mother Goose. Rosario back on board again. Plus the change in the distance going down to 7 furlongs. Maybe that's a good thing. The horse won both 7 furlong races, even though that was the first 2 races of the horse's career and only ran a 14 or a 17. But again, it's only the first 2 races of the horse's career.
Well, she was obviously a big surprise last time out. She went off 18-1, so
Yes.
she jumped up and she ran a big race. I like her because of the price, and I like her because of Rosario and Pletcher. And she's okay, and you're right. She's on the bubble just about enough time, maybe not to bounce. You would have liked probably another week or 2. However, that being said, I would use this horse somewhere in the mix.
Yeah, especially if those odds stay where they are. That's the key. All right, let's now move on to the 4. Let me get the sheets in here. Sure. All right, the 4 is your top play, obligatory, and Jose Ortiz on board and has been on board the last 4 times this horse has been out there. If you take a look at that 8 there on the board, which was the second race ago, that was a 7 furlong, just like this one. So that's what you want to see. You look at the 11 after the 8, and that's predictable. So now we're looking at a potential forward move once again here.
Very good. I agree with you 100%. Not only that, this race sets up well for this horse because there's a ton of speed in this race, and it's going to set it up for a closer. The 1 is speed, Illumination. The 5 is speed, Always Karina. The 8 is speed, Bella Sophia. So they're going to be cooking on the front end, and I think the race is going to set up for a closer. And I like betting horses cutting back in distance, and that's the story with this horse. She's also 1-for-1 at the distance. She's getting Jose Ortiz, who rides her all the time. And, Mott's doing well at this meet. He always does. And I think this horse is going to get a great setup in here. And if she's really 4-1, in my opinion, she's the right horse to be playing
Why
here.
do you like taking horses that are coming back in the distance?
Because it's a good handicapping rule. You always bet horses because they have the foundation in the bottom under, their conditioning setting up for the race. When a horse is stretching out for the first time, well, then so you want always a good way to handicap is betting horses cutting back in distance, and this horse fits that bill.
Okay, let's now move on to the 5, a 3-1 shot, Always Karina. You have the Brown-Pratt combination here, and definitely impressed with the first 3 races. Anytime you could start your career 7-10-10, that's very impressive. Couple of wins. Was second to that Zazil horse that we talked about that is still 8-1, and yet Always Karina is 3-1.
Well,
Go ahead.
always Karina came off of Lasix last time for the first time, and she was beaten by the three. She went off 80 cents to the dollar. She was 4-5 in that race. Zazil was 18-1. Zazil beat her that day, and I think she may beat her again tomorrow.
Okay, now let's go to the 6. Not much to talk about here with the 6, especially in a field that is this competitive. The 6 just isn't showing anything.
No, this is one of the few horses you could throw out with some conviction in this race, because you basically can make a case for a lot of other horses in here. This is not one of them.
Okay, now we move on to the 7. This is the favorite of the race, slight favorite of the race, and this is Search Results. And really, I don't see a whole lot difference in search results from, let's even just say, the 4 obligatory. Yet the horse is 5-2. Had that 7, as you can see, a couple of starts ago. That was the only loss of search results' career, and that's why the horse is the favorite. 4 wins out of 5, barely losing the Kentucky Oaks, comes back and wins the Grade 1 Acorn. This is a strong horse. There's no question about it. But in a field like this, there's so many good competitive horses, you don't really want to have to go with the favorite if you could avoid it.
No, but she's strong in the race, and this is the other filly in the race that's cutting back in distance. She went a mile last time out. She's never gone 7 furlongs. She draws a good outside box, and again, she's gonna take advantage of the speed. The reason I went to the 4 over the 7 obligatory is because obligatory was twice the price. So, if they're the same horse, why not go for the value? And that's what I did.
All right. And then we're going to go with the 8. And this is going to be my top play. This is going to be Bella Sofia, a 6-1 shot. Again, I'm very impressed with the first 3 races of the horse's career: 9, 11, 8, couple of wins. Luis Saez on board, having a very good meet. And most importantly, too, the combination is not only the first 3 races, which are impressive, but I'm getting 6-1.
Yeah, she's fine. The only question is she's now stretching out to 7 furlongs. The first 3 races were all 6 furlongs. So this is a case of betting a horse that's now going further than she's run in the past, as opposed to betting a horse that's cutting back in distance. But at 6-1, strictly off of number power, she's certainly a use. But this, again, is another one coming off of Lasix. Her only race without Lasix 2 starts back was her worst race. So that was what was a little bit of a concern to me. But if you really get 6-1, you got to respect it. Rudy Rodriguez is not having a Rudy Rodriguez meet. He only has, I believe, 3 wins here. That's very uncharacteristic for him. But listen, you're betting horses with prices at prices, so that's why I used her as well.
Okay, now let me go ahead before we wrap up here and just take a look at the picks for this race once again. Let me put them up on the board there. Nope, that's next picks. So already giving you the next picks. Let's show you the picks for this one, and that is the Grade 1 Longines once again. And let's see, here it is.
This is the test.
The test, excuse me. Well, the Longines Test Stakes, yes.
John sponsoring the race, so
I throw him a bone. As you can see, John is going with obligatory the 4. I'm going with the 8, Bella Sofia. Mark, obviously, with no pick on the week. He's getting ready for football season behind closed doors. Okay, so let's now talk about the Breeders' Cup Challenge race, and this is going to be the Whitney. So how does this compare to the other? If you had to say, we know the Travers is number 1. What's the number 2 race at Saratoga?
Well, this is one of the top 5, that's for sure. They have, every week you have a stake, but the Travers is certainly number 1. The last week's race was pretty big. They're all these Grade 1s.
Yeah.
They're all, you pick them between what flavor ice cream you like. They're all the same.
Okay, now this is a longer race.
Number 1. Travers is certainly number
1. Mile and an 1/8, so we got a longer race here in the Whitney, and this is for 4-year-olds and up. So we start here with the first horse, and again with only 5 horses in the field, so they kind of screw us there. But the good thing, as I mentioned, is each of these horses has a shot. This is the longest shot of the race. This is by my standards, the 10-1 shot. And as you can see on the sheets there, last year at this time, right here was just about when by my standards had ended his peak, just about. Because you could see a 5, a 4, and then the 5 in this race when by my standards was second to Improbable. After that, came back and won a race, the Ali Sheba at a 7, but it's taken the horse 4 more races. We're at a couple of 8s now, which is why you're getting 10-1. But it's not going to be a surprise if by my standards even just hits the board. I mean, 10-1 may not be a bad idea to throw into your favorite pick to try to make some money.
Well, I think that he's a little slower. Unfortunately, I'm going to end up on the favorites here because I just think they dominate. But let's go through it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's why by my standards, as you can see, in a lot of really good races. So as a shot, an outside shot. Now let's go with the 2 in the race, and that is Silver State. And Silver State's a 4-1 shot. And look at that. Silver State, 6 straight wins. Yet the best Silver State could do are 7s. See, at least when we got by my standards, I can at least go back to some 4 and some 5s. And we're only talking about a 5-year-old. Silver State's a 4-year-old. So, look, you got to get excited about 6 straight, but the competition is a lot different than what this horse is going to see in this race. I would definitely take the 1 over the 2 if I was just going to try to make some money, especially in an exact.
Well, the thing the 2 has going for him is that he is a 4-year-old. He won a Grade 1 last time out, the Metropolitan Met Mile. He won.
Big race.
Yeah, but that was around 1 turn. Now he's going 2 turns and he's going further. He ran at Oaklawn 1 1/8. He's run at Fairgrounds around 2 turns. You know, he has a shot, but he's not, the best any of these horses, the 1, 2, or 3 are going to do is get third as far as I'm concerned.
And interesting because Silver State won the Met and ran a 10, and by my standards, finished second in the Met and ran an 8.
Correct.
Okay, let's move away now to the 3. Wait, hold on. Let me get by my standards out of here. All right, let's go to the 3 horse in the field. That's Swiss Skydiver. This is going to be my play. And I just figured, here's one thing that I like about the horse, and that is the fact, well, odds are nice at 6-1. But this is a horse that is, and we see this from time to time, up and down, up and down. So since the Alabama Stakes, the Grade 1, where the horse, she ran a 6. She was at 6, as you can see on the board here, then 8, then 6, then 12, then 6, then 11, which you would think or hope if you're taking the horse, we're going to get the better race. Also, not only have the sheets been up and down, but so have the wins. So she keeps going win, no win, win, no win, win, no win. So if I'm basing it on that logic, I'm hoping for a win, a good sheet number. And again, I like the fact that I'm getting 6-1 with a horse that has won before at Saratoga, at the Alabama Stakes. And that's the biggest thing. I'm trying to do whatever I can to knock out these 2 heavy favorites.
Well, it's a girl running against boys. So that's the first thing you got to worry about. Not that girls can't beat boys, but in horse racing, it's not as easy a feat as, it would normally be. That being said, the best she's ever run in her life is a 6. You're going to come up to 2 horses now that have 2s.
Yes.
So you're going to have to go from a 6 to a 2. That's a big leap. Not only that, this horse was supposed to run in the Chuvy, but she was stuck in quarantine because there was a horse in the barn next door to them that had herpes. So when that's the case, all those horses can't run for 21 days. And,
I was wondering about that because that was the only thing that I noticed was that she had been running those every others, but it was every month. Now she's got almost 4 months off.
She was forced into quarantine with the rest of his barn. It took nothing away. They were able to train and everything else, but this was not his first choice to run in this race. He wanted to run against the girls in the Chuvy 2 weeks ago, and he was forced not to scratch because, again, these horses anyone that was in quarantine wasn't allowed on the track with other horses at the time because it's an extremely contagious disease. And, she was quarantined kind of like Mark is now.
All right. Sounds good. Well, hopefully Swiss Skydiver, if she wins, that'll be a good sign for Mark. Uh,
Yeah.
the other thing that I like is Irad Ortiz is jumping on board for the first time. So that
Yeah.
helps. And and she did win the Preakness going up against
Yeah.
boys.
But again, the problem is you're going to have to make up those 4
Yeah.
points.
Well, I'm hoping that
And
actually, there's no way I'm
you're
seeing
hoping
her.
the other horses don't show up. I
Yes, that's
understand
what
what
I'm
you're
doing. There's
hoping.
no way I'm banking on Swiss Skydiver running a 2.
Okay. Well, and it could happen. It could definitely
Yeah.
happen. But,
Okay, now let's go to one of the top favorites, and this is your top play, and understandably so, and that is Nick's Go, a 6-5 shot. And we talked about the horse last time because we did this race, and obviously she was a heavy favorite, and we were going, well, maybe there's a chance that Nick's Go this could be the perfect time to go against her. She runs the 10 and the 9 in her last 2 races. She had that overseas race, comes back and doesn't perform well at all at the Met. So maybe this is the time to get her, but no, she came out, she dominated at that grade 3 race, and here she goes again. So,
well, here's the good news and here's the bad news. The good news is that he's never won a race when he wasn't on Lasix. You see the races. Well, that's not true. 3 races back, he wasn't on Lasix at Gulfstream when he won the Pegasus World Cup. But after that, he shipped to Dubai or wherever he was, and then he came back without late. He didn't run on Lasix there, and he didn't run on Lasix 2 starts back at Belmont. He went back on Lasix last time out. But here's the problem. There's no speed in this race except for this horse.
Okay, yeah, that's not good.
No, Brad Cox is batting about 500 at the meet. He won another race yesterday. So all his horses are running. He pointed for this meet. Rosario's back aboard, and he's deadly when he makes an easy lead, and I think that's going to be the situation. So for that reason, believe me, I'm not inventing the wheel here. There's no big props for picking a 6-5 shot, but unfortunately, sometimes you have to take what they give you. And I just think he's going to be very tough to beat here.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of those deals where I'm even, admittedly so, that I'm going to say, okay, what's the exacta with Swiss Skydiver?
Right. Okay. You're going to look to turn an even money shot or a 4-5 shot into a 4-1 shot, which makes sense. Yeah. And I could see you doing that, But the problem is the next horse is Maxfield, who also, by the way, no one in this race, with the exception of the 4 and 5, have run 2s. Nick's Go has run a couple of 2s, a lot more than 1 or 2 2s. I think he's run 4 2s, and Maxfield has a 2 a few races back.
Yes.
1, 2, 3 have never even come close to running a 2.
And Maxfield has got 7 wins out of 8.
Yeah, that's correct. His only loss was when he shipped to Santa Anita in the Santa Anita handicap, and he lost 3 races back. That was the first time he was off a Lasix. But then he came right back and put in 2 big races at Churchill, both of them around 2 turns, the Ali Sheba and the Stephen Foster. And again, he's getting 2 pounds from the 4 horse. The 4 horse is spotting weight. The good thing about your horse, Swiss Skydiver, is she's at least getting 6 pounds or 5 pounds, whatever it is. So that makes a little bit of a difference. But Maxfield has a 2. Only 1 2, but it's still a 2. The 1, 2, and 3 have yet to run a 2, and the 4 has run multiple 2s. Again, I'm coming up with a $4 exacta. No big shakes here, and no one's getting rich. You're probably better off watching this race to tell you the truth than betting.
And the thing, though, is, which you also got to hope for, is the Saratoga
curse.
That's what you got to hope for if you're not going with the heavy favorite and you're trying to make some money in this race. So, and it could happen. I mean, look, Nick's Go is 0 for 1 at Saratoga, and Maxfield has never raced at Saratoga. At least Swiss Skydiver's got to win at the Alabama Stakes at Saratoga.
Nick's Go's 0 for 1 at Saratoga, but that's before Brad Cox was training.
That was a long time ago.
Yes, it was.
That's the thing. Nick's Go has raced 21 times in his career, compared to, I mean, that's the most by.
Well, he's earned almost $5 million. Think about that. He's earned close, and after Saturday, he's going to break through the $5 million barrier. So that's pretty impressive.
And only on 87K.
There you go.
Not bad. Pretty good. Okay, let's take a look quickly. Oh, wait. Actually, I got to pump up because why not? I mean, I went ahead and... Nope, that's the wrong one. There it is. All right, so everybody can see our picks of the week. A really cool little diagram here. What I wanted to also just mention, as always, is what's coming up as far as the calendar is concerned. So let me just take a quick look because we still have a few more weeks to go before we get to the big one, correct?
Well, we're on at the halfway point of the meet, so yes.
All right, let me take a look. Next week, we've got Saratoga on the 14th. We have the 4-star Dave handicap, so that's another Breeders' Cup Challenge race.
That's a grass race.
And the Grade 2 Saratoga Special, but that's it. There's no other... as weird as it sounds, there's no other graded stakes races next weekend. But then on the 21st, things get really busy because you have the Pacific Classic at Del Mar and the Alabama Stakes at Saratoga.
We're going to be busy. I told you, this is a busy 6 weeks of the year for us.
John, appreciate it as always. We'll talk to you again next week.
Okay, stay safe and be well. Thanks, guys.